What's up everyone, welcome back to Stag Voiceover. My name is Neil Glasgow. In today's video I'm going to be addressing one of the commenter questions that I had, which was really focused around how do I market, really a step-by-step guide to how they would go about marketing, because that ultimately is something that people are struggling to figure out, but also there may not be enough information out there. I'll try to make this as succinct as possible, but this may be a little bit of a longer video because I am going to try and break this down in detail. Any websites that I talk about, I'll put in the description along with links to the websites or discount codes, affiliate codes, anything that I can dig up that I think will make things a little bit cheaper for you, because ultimately the way that I do things does have a cost, but it is effective, ultimately. So with that in mind, let's get into it. So, marketing. It's a very important part, probably the most important part of your job as a voiceover, voice actor, however you want to describe yourself, outside of actually, being behind the mic. And to get the marketing done right is a difficult thing. And to make the marketing cost-effective and time-effective for you, especially if you're a one-man band like myself, getting that done right can save you hours of time and make you money. So I'm going to break it down step by step. The first thing that you're going to need before we even start the marketing is a product. And the product is going to be your demo. Now, whatever your demo is, whether you've had it done professionally, so you can go and you can pay a studio to produce a demo for you professionally. I've done a video on a basic studio demo, so go and check that out if you haven't seen that. It's the demo that everyone can make. It's just a basic studio demo, and everyone can make that for free. Or you can use a more professional sounding demo that you can create, and mostly it's for professional work that you have done, but I use a website called Storyblocks, and that allows me access to royalty-free music, sound effects, production elements essentially, and that allows me to create demos for myself, but also demos for other people and render them and master them to a professional quality. Now, if you're not sure how to do that, again, and this isn't plugging other videos, but you can go back and look at my Reaper for VoiceOver Part 3, and that will walk you through how to master your audio files so that they sound professional. Okay? That's step one. Have a product. Step two, I encourage you to have a website. Now, my website is crownstagvoiceover.co.uk. I built that on Squarespace. And again, I'll put that in the description. Squarespace for me was a fairly easy choice because it's a templated website domain. It gave me a lot of easy things. I'm not a website designer, developer, web developer. I don't know how to do all of that stuff. However, using Squarespace and just a very light amount of research into it, it made it a really simple thing to create a very professional looking website. I get compliments on it all the time, and post a lot of my content, my audio content that I've put out to clients on that website. And what that website essentially becomes is a repository of information, and this will come into play later. But it is something that instead of you firing out 2 or 3 demos at a time, you can direct people to your website. And showing that you have a professional quality website along with professional content on that website, again, just adds credibility to you as the voiceover artist. So that's step 2. The next thing that you're going to need to know is who to market to, where to market to. Now, predominantly, and I'm just going to list these by industry and then I'll go through as individual, okay? Predominantly, the industries that I market to are marketing and advertising organizations. I'm counting my fingers here. Media production companies, media companies, online media, which is a slightly different genre, but I'm listing these based on the search engines that I use, and again, I'll come into those in a second. Media production companies, entertainment companies, games development companies, a little bit lower down that list. You have to niche it down a little bit more into who you look at there. Essentially, you're looking at any industry that you feel will use audio production or media production or advertising or commercial or something along those lines. Depends where you're looking for it, but it's those types of industries. I wouldn't really look at public relations or IT companies. While they may use VoiceOver for some of their products, they will go to a media production company or a marketing company to find that. So those organizations, those specializations in company type are where most other organizations will go to source people like you. So those are the industry types. Told you this is going to be a bit of a long one. So then we're on to who you look at. And the list here is quite vast. Now, you would be looking at people in creative roles. So creative directors, creative developers potentially in the in certain fields, creative content managers, people creative. Search for creative individuals. They tend to be the people that are behind the content creation. Content creation, there's another one. Look at media producers, media designers, media project managers. Those individuals seem to have quite a lot of sway when it comes to this. Audio engineers, voice directors, voice talent agents, copywriters. There are a whole list of people. And actually, what I'll do is I'll put a list of all the people, job titles that I search for again in the comment section. So go and check that out. And where I find these individuals, I use, and I've talked about this before, I use LinkedIn. Now, if you're not familiar with LinkedIn, it's essentially it's a social media site for professionals. So it's business users talking about various business things. You're not going to find content on there like you would find on Facebook or maybe Twitter, something along those lines. It's a little bit more professional. But I use a paid-for service called Sales Navigator. And again, in the description. It's about £30 a month, but what that does is that gives you a far deeper insight into the names, the jobs, email addresses, contact numbers sometimes of these individuals. You can create folders of different specialisms in different industry categories, and you can farm that information. Now, something that I'll tell you exists, whether you decide to use it or not, there are platforms out there that you can engage that plug in to LinkedIn. LinkedIn don't like this, but they plug into LinkedIn and essentially they will skim the data for you. Instead of you doing something one by one, you can use these plugins. And these plugins aren't cheap, but you can use them and they'll skim the data for you and essentially farm that data and put it into a spreadsheet for you. And I'm mentioning that because it saves a significant amount of time if you're able to use one of these tools. As I say, LinkedIn doesn't particularly like that you can use these tools, and they do, put efforts in to try and stop you using them. But for the time being, you're paying for a service, and if you can get it and you can afford it, then again, I would probably say it's worth it in the long run to be able to have that efficiency in getting those contacts. So we've covered what you need to start off with, your website, where to find these individuals, what industry to look for in these individuals, and now we're going to look at what does your marketing actually consist of. Now, over 2020 and so far into 2021, things are picking back up in the industry worldwide. A lot of these organisations had people on furlough. They a lot of people redundant. Studios were shutting down left, right, and centre. Not a great time. Not a great use of your time to spend all that time. Dumb sentence. Cold calling. And that's essentially what a lot of this comes into. Now, the cold calling aspect of this it's relatively simple. And in the very, very rare case do you get someone negatively respond to that cold call. Hi, my name is Neil. I'm a professional voiceover artist or professional voice actor. You'll predominantly speak to a receptionist if you just cold call a random production house. However, if you use the tools that I've talked about, you can sometimes get the direct dial of the person that you're looking for. Now, calling these people out of the blue can be a little bit poor taste. However, an introductory email is always a nice thing. And my introductory emails are always very light, very short, and it leaves the control in the other person's hands. So I tend to say, hi, my name is, I really hope you don't mind me reaching out. I found your details on LinkedIn. This is what I do for a living. Here's a link to some of my samples if you'd like to go to it. Some people don't like to click links. Some businesses don't let you click links. Here's a link to my work, which takes me to my website. Here's a link to my YouTube channel so you can see my booth. Or if you would prefer, I can send you some samples. Now, I always leave it up to them to whether I actually send them some samples, and there's a reason behind this. If you just send out 2-3 megabit file, it's your commercial demo. Some people are not in an area in the world where their internet is all that good, but imagine what that does to their home computers, their servers, whatever it is, if you are one of 100 people that day to do the same thing. It becomes a pain for them, and in my experience, they don't like that. If they want it, they will ask for it. So providing them the option is quite a nice thing. And again, whether you're sending out your basic studio demo, your self-produced demo, or your professional demo, give them the option of either visiting your website or any other online content you might have, and also being able to send them your demo at their request. So that's where and how you market. And doing that on an individual basis, while personable, and absolutely you want to be personable and you want to be specific to the person and the industry that you're working on, that's really key there. You can, again, look at platforms like MailChimp is one, so you can send out a mail shot. Google Workspace has one. I think Google Sheets as well has one. You can do mail merges, Outlook, all that sort of stuff. If you've got the data, me now, having been in this for a long, long time, I've got thousands and thousands of contacts, and I need to have a way to manage all of those people. If I want to send out 100 emails to people that are in India because of a particular project I've worked on, I'm just going to put a mail shot together. And that's just being honest. I'm not going to go through 100 people because that's an afternoon. That's a day's work where I could be doing something else. Again, it's about making your time more efficient. So again, I'll put links to Google Workplace and Google Sheets and stuff in the description. These are things that you can do. So you've got your demo, your website, LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, some of these plugins, and the Google elements. And the last bit of marketing, and this is one of the biggest things, really. You don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. If you've sent something to someone, you want to be able to follow up with something relevant to that person. Now, I tend to send out marketing to an individual between every 6 and 8 weeks, something like that, just as a check-in. Remember me, that sort of stuff. The people that I've worked with time and time again come back to me time and time again. And they are your best advocate, because one of the things that I would always say to anyone who has secured work is, who else do you know that could use me? Who could you refer me to? I'd really appreciate it if you could let the other people in the industry know that I provide good work. That gets me work. That is the best bit of marketing that you can have. As a very real example, I did a 10-second job for a program called Crime Stoppers. It was just an overdub for a program called Crime Stoppers. That led to a radio advert that I did that was maybe about a minute and a half. which led to another radio advert. And it was all just people passing my details around. And that other radio advert was maybe about another minute and a half, 2 minutes. That netted me those, let's call it 4 minutes all in total. That netted me as a profit more than any other work that I did that week. And that was just through referrals. That was through me marketing to someone, them coming back to me being positive, doing all the stuff, doing a good job, and then that leading on to something else. That's the best bit, and that's the most important bit of marketing. Always do a good job, and if you do, people will come back to you. And when you do that good job, ask who else. Who else can I help with? Who else can I speak to? Who else could you put in contact with? I would really appreciate it. All that stuff. That, in a longer nutshell, is pretty much marketing, step by step. It's not, reinventing the wheel. It's about looking at what you can produce. Is it relevant? I keep doing this for the person that you're trying to contact. So don't just send out a, hello, Mr. Insert Name. Try and make it a bit more personable. Tell them why you're contacting them, how you contacted them, and what you do, and leave the option to them whether A, they want to respond, or B, what content it is that they want to receive from you. Now, I will warn you, and again, this is like the 0.001%. When I do email marketing, 99.999% of people come back to me positively. I have had, I think in the last 5 years, maybe 5, truly crappy email responses, which has just made me think like, do you need a cuddle? They were like really bad. Don't get downhearted with it, because it really can. At least for me, if I get a bad email, doesn't matter how many good emails I got that day, that bad email, it gets to me. What have I done wrong? Am I annoying someone else? Could I be doing something better? Just adjust. If something comes back and you go, do you know what? Good point. Adjust. But ultimately, you've got the content, you know where to look for the right people, you know how to contact them, and you've got a product to demonstrate to them. Hopefully that all makes sense. Hopefully that is an easy step-by-step guide. Like I say, I'll put all the links and discount codes and anything else I can dig up from the sources that I use that will make things a bit cheaper for you and a little bit easier for you as well. And remember, you can be a voiceover artist. I'll see you in the next video.